Hi, I'm Love. I just wanted to take this time to talk a little bit about Kundalini Yoga and the energy of Kundalini. So, to give you a little bit of background, I've got over 10 years' experience in teaching Kundalini Yoga and 18 years' experience plus in the practice of yoga. I'm also Hatha Vinyasa teacher, and I spent a lot of time teaching Yoga Nidra too. Now, with Kundalini Yoga, I've really seen the benefits, not only in myself, but in my students too, with how the practice of Kundalini has the ability to transcend and transform one's awareness. And that's because it works with the energy of Kundalini in the base. It harnesses, targets, and it moves that energy through. Not only the physical body gets the benefit, but the energy body also benefits from that. In Kundalini Yoga, we use Mula Bandha. Mula Bandha is used as a lock, Bandha lock, Mula Bandha, Mula for the base. And this lock is almost like you're taking that energy and you're both physically engaging the body and the pelvic floor muscles and you're holding. And then there's on the subtle energy basis, you're containing, you're holding, you're closing off that valve just for a moment. You're containing that potential. And then with focused breath and awareness, you're drawing that from the base. You're pulling up through the Sushumna, through the chakras, on both a gross and subtle level, and moving that energy through your structure. Now, what that does is, even in just the smallest amounts, or even if it only 1.2% of it moves, what you're getting the benefit of is a cleansing, an energetic cleansing. The Kundalini energy is like a purification, it's a pranic, and it's moving everything that's apanic out. Think of the Sushumna, that central column to which the chakras attach. Think of that as almost a tube where all the sediment of energy is sort of accumulated inside of one, if we were to really narrow it down to a very basic explanation and visualization. And that energy, that Kundalini energy, when directly harnessed, is moving through the Sushumna. It's cleansing the Sushumna. It's removing that sediment. It's purifying. And in that purification, nothing becomes clean unless it's worked through. So you may experience in class, thoughts come up, recapitulation of things that happened. You might be holding onto emotion. And that energy, that shift, brings that up. And suddenly you remember, you feel emotional. Or you go back into that memory and you think, where did that come from? That's really strange. You might have an experience similar to mine where for the first few years of practice, you go to class and you leave feeling good, but you're like, why do I bother coming back? When I'm in a class, I'm either crying or feeling frustrated, or, this is not the relaxation I signed up for. It's exactly what you signed up for. And you should definitely keep going back because you're working through deep layers, energy layers of the self. You're purifying. You're getting rid of all that energy, motion that's sort of trapped inside these layers of the self. And that's what Kundalini is meant to do. It's meant to bring up those things. You're meant to feel all of those feelings. But the trick is that while you're feeling them, you need to become the observer. Go back to the basic Buddhist teachings. Can you observe it? Can you not get attached? Can you detach from it? But not in the way where we're saying disassociate from it. Just push it aside and not deal with it. If it's stuff that needs to be dealt with, it's coming up for a reason, and you should absolutely deal with it in session, in therapy, and whatever it is you need to do and how you need to work through it. But in class, as it comes up, are you able to come back to the moment? Are you able to come back to the breath, the movement? Are you able to bring a mindfulness into your practice? Present state of mind. Not caught up in the story or the projection of the story on the teacher or the students, and you're wanting to turn the class off or get up and leave the room. In actual fact, when you experience that, the best thing you can do is just simply sit in it and be present with it. It will pass. And it's not easy. Deep energy work like this, transcending and working with this energy, is tough. It's really tough. And that's what some of these kriyas we do, and that you'll find on my channel, they are building resilience. Although they don't seem like they are extremely active and we're not holding asana and we're not working super hard or sweating, we're building up a strength on an energy level. We're purifying, we're cleansing, we're transcending. That's why it's nice to have a little notebook with you, especially in self-practice. Make a cup of tea, set the scene, light a candle, and really allow yourself to be there. When you start that class, finish the class. And as things come up, if it's really on your mind, the best way to let go of it is to write it down. Just a few keywords. But only if you have to. And then after the class, you go to your journal. You can spend a bit of time writing, making notes of what may have come up for you and how they felt, etc. Kriya Yoga, Kundalini energy work is so powerful. It's so transformational. It's working with the Ida and Pingala channels too. Ida is female, moon energy, and is associated with the left-hand side of the body. Pingala is sun, male energy, and is associated with the right-hand side. The Ida and Pingala channel, for a visualization, if we imagine at the base is our base chakra, Kundalini, and there we have the Sushumna coming up, and out of this base we have the Ida and Pingala channels. And they are like the caduceus staff. They dance and they turn and they twist around the Sushumna, and they exit out the nostrils. Ida exits out the left nostril and Pingala out the right. You might find it useful to be able to spend a bit of time focusing on the flow of your breath and identifying which is your dominant nostril in this moment, when you go to sleep and when you wake up. And notice how the energy of the dominant nostril shifts between those channels during the day. In the evening, if you're feeling very active and the mind is very busy, you may notice that the right-hand channel is active. You can settle it through pranayama by just closing off the right nostril and focusing on breathing just through the left. Eventually, the channel will shift and left will become more dominant, moving more into a passive state, allowing you to fall asleep a little bit easier. The dance of the Ida and Pingala channel, as the dominant nostril moves between them, is worth identifying and starting to visualize, especially in class. When you start a class, be aware of which nostril is dominant. Notice how it shifts in the class. When you're focusing on inhaling left or exhaling right, visualize the moon energy to your left and the sun energy to the right. Visualize that beautiful golden ball, that red, you can give it all these colors. It doesn't matter what color you want to associate with it. It doesn't change the fact that it's there and you're working with it. Visualize that Kundalini energy in the base. Visualize it moving through the Sushumna. And when it comes to exit out the nostrils, it is still moving through the third eye and the crown, which is why it's quite important to make sure that the tongue is pushed up into the roof of the mouth. Because when the mouth is open and we're breathing through the mouth, we're not giving the Ida and Pingala channels a chance to operate and function properly from a subtle energy point of view. Also, with the mouth closed, with the tongue pushed up into the roof of the mouth, Kichari Mudra, we're activating the meridian points, but also closing the gap in the Sushumna energetically, allowing that energy to completely pass through. Remember, when it comes out of the nostrils and the crown, it's never lost. It's just simply circulating through your aura cocoon, coming back down to the base. You're sitting on the ground. Symbolically, Muladhara, earth energy, mother energy too. So Mother Earth, you're pulling that energy from that space. You're activating that Kundalini. You're holding it, you're containing it, and you're exhaling. You're directing it. So Kundalini and Kriya Yoga are working with focus, bandha, pranayama, and they're taking all these and they're merging it. Now, there's no doubt when you start working with Kundalini, and I invite you to try 40-day Kriyas, 7-day, where you do the same class over for 40 days or 7 days or 14 days. Or you simply practice a variety of classes over a period. You will see the benefits. You will notice the change in your energy structure and things will begin to shift. I hope that this video has been informative. I hope that you've learned something. Thank you for being part of the conversation. Thank you for watching. Please share, subscribe, and just be part of the conversation as you are. Much love and blessings. Satnam.